down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, let's go!
The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, let's go!
¿Qué tal, amigos? Un verdadero placer estar con todos ustedes. Bienvenidos a Silver and Black Empire. Y bueno, como siempre, sus buenos amigos, el señor Flash Johnson, mejor conocido como Jorge López, y su servidor Rigoberto Plasencia. Estaremos el día de hoy llevándoles este programa, donde, bueno, pues también, mi querido Flash, otra vez tenemos invitado de honor en lo que es este programa, uno de los podcasters más influyentes en la actualidad en la nación Raider. Y bueno, pues estaremos haciendo un enlace con Raider Cody. ¿Cómo estás, mi querido Flash?
Muy contento, mi querido Rigo, aquí ya listo para platicar pues del mejor equipo de la NFL. Insisto, ¿qué hay otro? ¿Por qué la gente le va a los otros equipos? No lo sé. Tenemos el mejor equipo, el mejor uniforme, el mejor logo y ahora el mejor estadio. Así que, ¿qué más podemos pedir?
Efectivamente. Y bueno, pues ya, sin más preámbulos, ¿qué les parece si nos vamos directamente con nuestro invitado? Y bueno, pues ya está también aquí con nosotros el señor Raider Cody. Mi querido Cody, welcome to Silver and Black Empire. How are you?
I'm good, guys, and thanks for having me. And what is up, Mexico Raider Nation? That's what it's all about. We are Raider Nation. It's a weird word. It's a weird term. But Raider Nation, it's almost like Raider World. You know what I mean? We cover so many different continents, so many different countries. It's amazing. So shout out, and thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me on your show.
No, it's a pleasure having you with us. The first question is, can you introduce yourself, how you became a Raider, how you became a podcaster? Tell us about it.
Yeah, well, becoming a Raider fan is probably a similar story to how most Raider fans became Raider fans, and I was just born into it. My dad was. And my dad was really, he just decided, I guess where he came from, he just decided that he was going to be a Raider fan. No one influenced him. It didn't come from his parents. It was his decision. And now that we're dealing with this thing, he's a big-time LA fan, and I followed in his footsteps. And it became pretty easy. Shout out to Dad, because it kind of turned me into a normal, common fan as I got older, got a family, kind of found a passion for football, really started following the Raiders, and got on Twitter. Twitter just kind of was, I guess, the go-to for football news, and it turned into this whole deal now to where, man, I had nowhere to really share my thoughts. I got so invested. What do we do? And someone suggested that I start a podcast. I'd never heard a podcast before. I'd never listened. I had no idea what it was. So fired one up on my lunch break in the Burger King parking lot, started recording, talking Raiders football, got addicting, and it grew. And now, obviously, you can see here I am in a studio that I built myself just for this crazy obsession that I have now for talking Raiders podcast or Raiders news, Raiders updates, talking Raiders players, whatever I can do, to bring some content to fellow Raider fans, maybe trying to talk about things that I'd want to hear. So it turned into this big crazy thing, and it's been enjoyable. It's been a lot of fun, and shout out to Raider Nation, because if it wasn't for our passionate fan base, I wouldn't enjoy doing this as much, man. I mean, we love this stuff. We soak this stuff in. We're thriving for more Raiders content. And shout out to you guys for being contributors to that and giving fans that are watching now something to watch.
Exactly. And hope we can do something about some subjects, like impose the induction of some players in the Hall of Fame. That would be great.
Yeah, no, you know what? Here's the thing. And shout out, because what we're dealing with right now is obviously a battle against racial injustice. And there is, at this point, obviously what's going on in the world, there's a racial injustice going on against a certain minority head coach, Super Bowl winning head coach, that should be involved with, multiple other Raiders. But Tom Flores is a guy that's getting leapfrogged by people that shouldn't be leapfrogging him, right? There's something serious going on here. Not really sure what it is, but what can we do, guys, to get this guy inducted into the Hall of Fame? Tom Flores is well deserving, right?
Well, Flash has all the credentials that Tom Flores deserves to be inducted, right?
He's the first guy who has won a Super Bowl as a player. Unfortunately, he did that with the Chiefs after he was our first quarterback. But well, he then won a Super Bowl as an assistant coach when John Madden was coaching the Raiders. He was there, and then he won 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. So what else must he do in order to get into the Hall of Fame? Because, if you take a look, no disrespect to Bill Cowher, but he has only 1 Super Bowl and he's in the Hall of Fame now. Or, well, he will be inducted. What the hell is going on? It's no easy task to win 2 Super Bowls, and it was no easy task to win 2 Super Bowls following John Madden's act. I'm talking about a coach who never had a losing season. So, he must be in the Hall of Fame. That's a real injustice right now for this coach.
Yes. What do you think about Cody?
At what point do you even consider what it took for him to get hired? He was the first, right? What does it take for him to even get the job and prove that he can go out there and make a difference and just be a pioneer in the league? That's what it's all about. And you can even eliminate all the accomplishments that he had just for, who he was, for being Hispanic. Erase that. And if this was level playing field and you're not looking at what he did just for racial injustice, just looking at for what he accomplished in the league, period, well deserving to go in and be part of probably the greatest part of the Raiders that we've ever seen. The history of the Raiders. You go back to those glory years, and we were probably, at that time, we put ourselves as probably the best franchise and organization in all of sports.
It was
so
the
why
best
go ahead.
Professional team with a winning record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Until 1994-95 is where the Yankees, I believe, they took that place. But the Raiders, even though they have 18 bad seasons, they still in the first 15 teams with the winning record in the professional sports of United States. So
I'm telling you. So why not recognize one of the best head coaches of the Raiders at that time?
He was in 2 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. So in Super Bowls it's 100, right?
Yeah.
Playoffs.
How many head coaches have done that?
Playoffs, he only lost, I believe, 3 games or 4 games. So I think that, like you, Cody, he deserves to be there, and Jim Plunkett deserves also a minority son of 2 Hispanic people that were blind, and he wasn't there. And like you said before the show, Jim Plunkett is the only quarterback with 2 Super Bowl rings that he is not inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah. You don't come across multiple winning Super Bowl quarterbacks. So whatever this is, there seems to be a bias against the Raiders when it comes to the Hall of Fame committee, because it takes them to, I guess, pass away before they can finally get inducted because they feel bad. So, we saw this with Ken Stabler, and the Stabler family is probably the biggest advocate for things like this now. And, we're right behind them. Raider Nation understands. And the same thing happened, right? Cliff Branch. It's like, so this is what it takes now. Cliff Branch has to pass away for him to get in the Super Bowl? Or in the Hall of Fame?
No, he wasn't in the Hall of Fame. Actually, he was the NFL's postseason leading receiver when he retired. That's a little unknown fact to most fans. but
Really?
that talks about the quality he had.
I'm a big fan. We got there's a lot of deserving Raiders. Tom Flores. And I'm glad you said Jim Plunkett, because really Jim Plunkett is probably the most underrated and underappreciated quarterback. I'd say the entire NFL. He has a lot of records, just like you said, multiple winning Super Bowl quarterback. Definitely needs to get in there.
And he's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. He is. So, I mean, I'm telling you, Plunkett, Flores, Cliff, I'm telling you, I mean, the thing with Cliff Branch was sad. It was sad. That was
It was the same story about
have been in there.
Kenneth Stabler. The same
Exactly.
story.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. And he should have been able to see himself. You know what I mean? He should be able to go up there and get that ring, that jacket. Because just like the Stabler family says, they didn't give it to him. They wanted to pay for it. Like they sat there with the committee and they said that they would pay for this stuff. And they said no, they only give it to the actual inductee.
No, that's sad. And this gave you another player, Greg Townsend. I believe he's
Raiders all-time leading sack leader, right?
And he's the only defensive tackle or defensive end with more than 100 sacks that he is not in the Hall of Fame.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Actually, if you start with that topic, I mean, you're gonna go with Greg Townsend, Steve Wisniewski, you're gonna go with Lester Hayes, you're gonna go with Phil Villapiano. So it's like, what the hell is going on? I mean, yeah, there seems to be some kind of bias against the Raiders. There's no doubt about it.
How do you argue that? I mean, it seems to be with everything. Even we're looking at in the players now when it comes to offensive rookie of the year, Josh Jacobs, clearly snubbed.
Oh,
right? I mean,
yeah. Well,
everything.
And actually,
No, Kyle Murray was better. He was a better player. I'm joking.
This is what's crazy. They'll penalize Josh Jacobs for not playing those last few games, right? So what was it? He missed last 3 games or whatever that was, or
But
last
he
2
played
games.
with an injury that 99% of the players won't play with that injury.
Well, it's not just that. If those games decided Kyler Murray over Josh Jacobs, Kyler Murray threw 7 interceptions in his last 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be injured than do that.
Exactly.
and what about Mad Max? Mad Max was a big contender for the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, if you take a look at his stats, they were slightly better than Bosa's.
Yeah, and he wasn't a starter until week 6, week 7.
And he has the hand injury.
And the hand injury. Exactly.
I think that I have a friend in San Diego. He's a journalist, Dante Lascano, and say hello. He used to cover a lot of the Chargers. And one time in one Super Bowl talk, he told me that the Raiders are condemned because that the lawsuit that Al Davis made against the NFL. The NFL put the shield that not be a good to be a Raider or be part of the Raiders organization. And if you recall all the took Clay or took rule, whatever you say, and everything, the thing that happened in the Super Bowl 37, I know that you were very young, Cody, but change all your play calling one night before or 2 nights before the Super Bowl. I think that's rare.
Yeah, that whole situation was wild because you'd never seen Rich Gannon play football like that before. I mean, that just kind of came out of the blue. That was a little wild. So I'm not really sure the whole behind the scenes. I wasn't, like you said, I was pretty young during that time. So my football recollection wasn't what it is now. I wish I could be my age now and going through that season and really trying to dissect, kind of what's going on and what happened there, because we really just took a dive. And our center disappearing, whatever, the night before the game. It was just one of those things that, that's all it takes. Imagine the Raiders make it to the Super Bowl this year. And we know that he never would, but what if Rodney Hudson disappeared? What's that going to do to our offensive line?
No, nothing.
Well, let me picture this. I mean, I was watching your YouTube a couple of minutes ago before we started this show, Cody. You were talking about why the Raiders are going to be a playoff team, and I like that. And I was picturing this. Imagine if, for some magical reason, we end up in the Super Bowl facing Tampa Bay. And, well, we know who's on the other side. I mean, Chucky on our sideline against Tom Brady and the Bucs, taking sweet revenge. It would be, I don't know, a storybook ending for all this long journey that we have taken with the team for 17, 18 years that have been, I don't know, a drag through hell. But it would be really
nice. And it's
not
just that. There's the history there, right? Like you said, Tom Brady, John Gruden, there's that. But then there's recent history that just happened months ago of Derek Carr thinking Tom Brady's going to come in, and he never thought this, but all these rumors are swirling. And the world, the NFL world, thinking that this guy's going to come in and take his job. So what kind of rivalry do you think's built up there whenever he's the franchise quarterback? He gets paid. He's going to Vegas. He's supposed to be the guy. And then it's rumored that Tom Brady is supposed to take like an ownership stake and come in and be the Raiders quarterback. So, yeah, there's that rivalry with John Gruden. But how do you think Derek Carr feels about Tom Brady right now? Yeah, he's going to keep him professional. And he's going to be cool about it. And he's not going to lose his cool. He's not going to, voice any opinion. He keeps it together. He's always been good about that. But he's a human being, and I'm a human being. And my reaction would be, screw that guy. You know what I mean? Screw that guy.
But
yeah, of course.
I follow you on Twitter, and you never were.
I'm sorry.
I followed you on Twitter. No, don't sorry. I like your posts. But what I said is, every Carr hater was a Brady lover, and I hate that.
Oh, yes.
All the Raiders, all the true Raiders, hate Tom Brady. And let me tell you this, he's a great guy. I have a story I shared with Flash one time. I was covering the Super Bowl, and then at the end of the game, the Patriots won. As you know, every Super Bowl they won. They didn't face the Giants. And in the hall, I faced Tom Brady and said, hey, an interview from Mexico. And he said, right now, no, Chovy. I remember a lot that, no? And I said, okay. Then we entered to the locker rooms. In that time, you can enter to the locker room. And I was interviewing Vinatieri. He was a hero. It was the Super Bowl 38. And then somebody touched my shoulder. I see him. It was Tom Brady. He was with his jacket. And he says, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. I said, wow. That's a great guy. But even though as a Raider fan, I don't like it. Because that
he's
rule,
a great
right?
guy. That's fine. He's a great guy. I still don't like him. He could be award-winning stand-up character guy, and it's just born in us, and it's fine. Hey, off the field, I'm glad you shared that story, because off the field, outside of football, when he retires, I'm going to say, great career, Tom Brady. And you know why the Raiders? He's one of those players that across the entire NFL, like Raider fans have their own issue against Tom Brady, right? We have our own issues. We have bad memories of Tom Brady, but he's one of those players that across the entire NFL over these years that the NFL doesn't like him because they wish he was on their football team. So he's at the end of his career. we're in a position, I think, now to where we can, if we get the chance, and of course they're coming to town, they're coming to Vegas. We get a chance to finally end Tom Brady's career, and I'm excited for that.
That will be a great game, and also the game against the Saints.
The Saints. Yes.
Yeah, big game.
I believe those games are. I believe you are going to be in all the Las Vegas games, right?
I'm going to go to a few. As much as I would, I mean, I have the opportunity, I think, to go to all of them, and I'll get the experience, a few times. I'm family above football, so leaving 8 weekends out of that 4-month period, I'm not really too fond of it. I like to stay home. I like to watch football because I got a 3-year-old boy, so I like to sit down and watch the Raider game with him, get him involved. He loves the shield. I wear anything Raiders, and the first thing he does is he points to the shield and says Raiders, and he loves it. So that's one of those things with him where I'm trying to soak this thing up, and just like my dad did to me, this kid's not going to know what hit him. He's going to be 16, and he's not going to know why he doesn't like all the other teams. He's not going to know why he loves the Raiders. He's not going to know why he sees the Patriots logo and it pisses him off. He doesn't know why he hates the Chiefs. He's just gonna love the Raiders, and that's because I didn't go to 8 home games a year because I stuck around and brought him into this with us. So that's kind of my focus: family over football. But I'll definitely be there getting that experience.
That's a good issue. Family over football and family over everything. That's nice.
Absolutely.
Talking about this season, this rare season, because we're depending of the COVID, right? But what do you think about Derek Carr and the third year with John Gruden? Everybody's talking that he's not that good. Last week we talked with Kenny, and we are Carr believers. We think that he is going to be the quarterback that took us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of fans will say now that this is a prove it year, right? And I think that Derek's proved it. And he's had all these seasons where he's worked on all these different things of his game. I don't think it's really necessarily a prove it year. I think now it's a statement year where you go in and you win football games and you win them. Like, you look dominant. Like, you go out there and you lead an offense that looks good. So I think it's time that, whatever, say prove it year, whatever. I think when you say prove it year, I'm going to say, well, there's proof that he's the starting quarterback, and I think they need to make a statement this year and win some football games. So for me, obviously I'm a Carr supporter. Anybody that follows anything that I ever do, I'm a Raider supporter, like through and through, because I have the mentality that, guess what? Like, even if there's things about your game that you need to work on, we're not going to have the best player at every position playing for our football team. So what are we going to do? Look at our statement, right? We got the slogan, just win, baby. I don't care what it is. It's not just Pro Bowl, baby, or it's not just all pro first team, baby. It's just win. So what can we do as fans to just win? Take these guys and win some football games, and that's to cheer for them, support them. And Derek Carr, it starts with him. What do you think dragging him down and making him feel like he shouldn't be here is going to help us win football games? It's not. So it's a matter of, just like the mentality you guys have, supporting the guy. And he has the talent. He's proved it. Now it's just getting behind him. With the added talent on the field around him, supporting cast is looking great. Now it's just a matter of putting all the pieces together and making the whole thing work and making a statement in 2020. I love Derek Carr, man, as a human being. I love what he brings to the football team. I love what he brings to the locker room. I love what he's doing for the organization. There should be no other really role model that you would want on your team, supporting a player. There should be, when you put that jersey on, you should be proud to put on a Derek Carr jersey because of who he is. So now we just need to win some football games. And we have a great setup, and I think we have all the tools to make that happen.
Let's go back to last season. Houston game, it wasn't his fault. It was the defense that couldn't stop Watson, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's hard to. I don't want to blame the defense because Watson played great that game.
Yes.
it's not
And the throw with the eye pick,
in the eye.
it was great.
Goodness. How do you do that? I've never seen such a thing. The dude couldn't even hardly get back in the game. He got his eyeball dang near kicked into his skull, and he threw a touchdown. And it's like, what do you do to even stop that? And it's just like, that's just Raiders' luck. It drives me nuts because that always happens to us, right? You could have the play stopped and something crazy like that. He kicked his eyeball through his skull and he threw a touchdown. That only happens to the Raiders. So, and don't get me wrong, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, the defense did give up a lot that game, but it's just a matter of us clicking on all cylinders. It's a matter of the defense being like, I feel like the defense they started playing well at the end of the year, and they started clicking. And now it's just a matter of, like, the one missing element they were missing was aggression. And it was the same thing, I think, that the offense was missing coming out of the half, aggression. So what we're missing as a football team is our aggressiveness. And what's crazy is, I don't know how much you guys want to talk about the draft, but those are the type of young key players that we drafted, aggressive players. Damon Arnett, Amik Robertson. Those are guys that are going out there and they're gonna change the attitude of our team. So I'm interested to see, but some of those games, they weren't Derek Carr's fault. To get back on the topic of Derek Carr, it wasn't Derek Carr's fault. And maybe he's not that quarterback that's just going to straight saddle the team on his back and carry them week in and week out. But he does have the tools to win the games that we are playing well as a team, and that's all we need.
I remember a couple of seasons, the game against Dallas, the Cowboys, when he tried to score and then fumble the ball. Everybody's blaming him, but he took the risk.
Yeah,
he tried to score.
He tried to make a play.
Exactly. And
I'm sorry, Rigo. Yeah, I know he tried to score, and that one was okay. But I love Derek Carr. I love what he brings to the table. But what happened at Green Bay last season was like, dude, I mean, they say live and learn. So that was the only thing I have to say against Derek Carr. I mean, because it was tough. And you know what happened two seasons before. And it was like, man, I mean, really? But that's the only complaint about him. I mean, because we have been through, I don't know how many quarterbacks we have been through. And finally, we have some consistency in the quarterback position because we have the Jamarcus Russells, the Josh McCowns, the Tuis, I don't know if you remember Tuiasopo. We had, I don't know.
Marcus, yeah.
Mark Wilson.
Mark Wilson, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you're gonna bring that kind of things up, well, let's talk about Jay Schrader.
Yeah.
Andrew Walter, MVP.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was my MVP when I was playing Madden that season. I mean, it was, 2006. He won 2 Super Bowls for me.
That's funny.
The thing is that we finally have some consistency in the quarterback position. Yeah, you can complain about those 2 plays with Derek Carr, the one with Dallas, the one against Green Bay. But he's been clutch. He's been there. He's been rallying the troops. And if you take a look at what he's been saying nowadays, I was watching an interview with his brother, and his brother told him, well, you're a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he said, yes, but I don't care about that anymore. I mean, I'm trying to do something else. I'm trying to get to the Super Bowl. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. And that's what you want. I mean, the guy's focused. He knows what he wants, and he has to do. And he has been able to put this practice camps with his receivers. So,
yeah, he's playing coach. He's basically a coach of the off season right now. We don't have any option. The option can't do anything. Staff can't do anything. But Derek Carr's out there organizing this team, and I mean, we're having over 30 players out there wanting to play football. Not just a handful. It's not just him and his receivers. Over 30 players are out there getting ready for the season. So it's a whole team effort. I mean, just like you're bringing up, like those couple plays, you're right. And it's crazy how much people emphasize, like, and it's not just a couple plays. I'll be honest. I'm a huge Derek Carr supporter. Did he make some mistakes last year? Yes, he did. Guess what? All quarterbacks make mistakes. They all have bad throws. They have bad plays. That's why. Was there a top quarterback last year that threw 0 interceptions? You know what? Because they make mistakes. Freaking stuff happens. So
Even Pat Mahomes.
pick apart Derek Carr, but it's minimal. It's very minimal. And we talk about, yes, we even like when we complain about Derek Carr trying to make a play. Had Green Bay had that game maybe been, I don't know, maybe I mean, at the time it was a little closer, but gosh, we're giving up for the first time in history a team that's had freaking Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and Aaron Rodgers. For the first time in history, they gave up a perfect passer rating that game. So it's like, it's one of those things. It's like, you know, we can talk about that one fumble, and yeah, maybe, okay, momentum shifts. But at the same time, it's like, as a football team, we just got to get better. And if a football team's clicking and a football team's involved and they're playing like a real team, Derek Carr's the dude to take them the distance. And point blank period, everybody can get on Carr supporters. Well, guess what? Mike Mayock and John Gruden are Carr supporters. And if you want to argue with them why they shouldn't have picked him as quarterback, then go right ahead. Go right freaking ahead, because they obviously thought he was their best option this year. If they thought Tom Brady was a better option, they would have pursued him. They would have said, "Okay, Derek, I'm sorry, we're gonna offer everything we can." If they thought the quarterback was the issue, they would have put all their chips on the table for Tom Brady. But they didn't. They didn't. They're Carr stands, just like us.
And they put Mariota for the backup plays because it's the NFL. You need a good backup in every position. You need depth. And that's what you need. But they surround Carr with many players with speed, great hands, and like you said, with a mindset of aggression. That's what I like about the new Raiders. Henry Rock, it's a great player. Everybody's saying that he is too quick, but I watched a lot of tape of him playing in Alabama. It's a demon. He play inside, outside. He made some quick slangs. He's a real good wide receiver. So let's start to see the Raiders in the next step, right?
Yeah, and just like you're talking about aggression, when they're picking these wide receivers, we talked about it quite a bit after the draft. And a lot of people thought that we were going Jerry Jeudy or CeeDee Lamb because they put on like pretty practice tape. They have good footwork. They're crafty. Okay, yards after the catch. CeeDee Lamb, he's popular. He wore the Raiders jersey. I wanted CeeDee Lamb. I'd have been happy with Jerry Jeudy. And I was out of draft crush on Henry Ruggs. And you know why they picked Henry Ruggs? Is because he was the most aggressive whenever it was a 50-50 situation. He attacked the ball whenever it was coming to him. And for two, he seemed to be the most prepared and the most plugged in whenever he had a sit-down conversation with John Gruden and Mike Mayock. When CeeDee Lamb came and talked to him, wasn't like that. He wasn't prepared. He wasn't plugged in. Good player, but he wasn't plugged in. Henry Ruggs, all in, and he's pumped to be a Raider. So that's why we selected that guy. We could have picked another Amari Cooper. You guys want another Amari Cooper? Because I don't.
No.
I definitely
No.
He's talented.
Flash love Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
No.
I need my dog Cooper. I need my dog Cooper making me catch better than Amari Cooper.
I was dancing like Ric Flair when he got traded, and that's a true story. I was doing the dance. Let me tell you something about Brock. I mean, he's a speedy receiver. He's fast as hell. I mean, he's not the guy you say, oh, deep. He's gonna go in. He's gonna catch the ball and he's gonna break tackles and he's gonna make the big play. But sometimes that big play is going to come from a 5-yard pass. So that's pretty cool. And when you consider the kind of offense that John Gruden likes to run, I think it's like the perfect.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And it's one of those things where I just don't want. I mean, like you said, it's funny that you're dancing with Cooper was traded. It was one of those things. It's like when Matt got traded, I was upset, because we were all in on Khalil Mack just like we were Derek, and he never did anything wrong to us. Amari Cooper gave up on us. So when he got traded, I wasn't even phased. I was like, wow, and moved on. And it was that simple. I had like no emotion to it because he unplugged. I felt like I had no ties to him. He wasn't really like out there like going like crazy for us. So that was okay. So now like what we're dealing with, Tyrell Williams wants to be out there and play football. Hunter Renfro's amazing. He's all in. He loves DC. He loves playing for the Raiders. He's a clutch player. It's great. It's cool to see guys that like I said. I mean, there's 30 plus players out there. There's a few guys that can't be out there for different reasons. Henry Ruggs obviously recovering from a small little puncture in the leg. He should be good to go in a few weeks. Whenever things really matter. And it's gonna be good that he gets a little recovery period. You know what I mean? Just rest up, get ready. A lot of these players, like rookies, they hit that rookie wall really because as soon as they're done with college football, they don't stop. They get done with that final season. They know they're entering the draft. They're hardcore in training all through NFL Combine because they want their measurables to be the maximum. They want the highest draft stock. So they're nonstop. They hit, they go to in the rookie mini camp. They're the first ones in the building practicing. Get hardly any break. They're back out there with all the veterans whenever they come in, and they play all year long. So that rookie wall isn't just because, in my opinion, they say because, whatever college plays 13 games. It's not those, in my opinion, it's not just the extra games. It's that long off season because they will never know. I mean, there's NFL players later on that will work that hard in the off season. But for the first time, I guarantee you in their life, they have never worked so hard in the off season, no matter what, through college. If you're a hard worker in college, great for you. Whenever you get out and you're going to the NFL, you're working even harder than that. You are pushing your body to the limit to get in the NFL. So for Henry Ruggs to get a little break, it could be good. He could not quite have that rookie wall. He could get out there fresh when, training camp really fires up and maybe we get players back out there on the field and be ready to go. A speedster with fresh legs. So I'm here for it.
With this news of the Major League Baseball, it gives the door for the NFL to start the training camps, right? That's a good news.
I think so. And I hope so. And I think, if we want an NFL season, we need to get things going soon because you can't throw 53 players out there on the field that have only practiced for a month. It's just dangerous. You can't throw guys out there that don't know what they're doing. You're going to be risking injuries whenever you have confusion on defense, confusion on offense. You get a guy that's out of place, he realizes it, gets confused, ball gets thrown to him, he gets lit up. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. So hopefully we get him out there soon, but seeing reports of, players getting the virus, it's like crap. Like, it just sets it back. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of hopefully, I don't know. I don't see the NFL passing up on the opportunity, but it's just going to be hard. I think now it just comes down to if fans are going to be able to be at a game. That's my concern.
Yes, that's a good subject. And the other thing is probably they postpone the start of the season not until September, until October.
They could. I think pushing the schedule around could be a little difficult because, some sports, like you get it, baseball is one thing, basketball, same thing. You're not always like completely selling out. NFL games, for the most part, I mean, you're getting, 60 to 100,000 fans in there, packed out every single week. And it's a commitment. Going to a basketball game is one thing, right? You show up, you walk into the arena, watch the basketball game, you go home. As a football fan, when you're planning to go to an NFL game, it's an all-day event. So there's a lot more commitment when it comes to being a football fan and being able to get those fans there accordingly. And I guarantee you, football fans are going to throw a lot bigger fit than basketball fans or baseball fans if they can't get in there. So it's going to be – it's a very delicate situation on how Goodell's going to handle this. But if you can't get 100% of the fans in the stadium, it's not going to work. How do you tell somebody that they bought PSLs, but your PSL isn't good this year? Like, even if you can't go, like, even if they refunded your season tickets and you don't have to pay for the tickets this year, how do you tell somebody, but you don't get to possibly make money on reselling them? But everybody else, or most everybody else, can. So it's very delicate. If 100% of the fans can't show up, I don't think any do. It's just too difficult.
I read the news today that they said if they close the in of the stadiums, the fans are going to be around the stadium watching the game. So
yeah, they
it's
will
the
be.
same.
If they're worried about fans being together, guess what? They're going to be together no matter what. So if they want
Exactly.
together in the stadium to make money, there you go. If you don't, they're going to be together watching it who the heck knows where, whether it's around the stadium or all these different bars and hangouts. It's going to happen. It's going to spread. It's going to spread. So just get them in, get your money, and let's have a good time. Let's watch some football.
Something, Flash?
I wanna know your opinion. I mean, I read this comment, or well, this quote by Charles Woodson. He said that he was expecting a very explosive offensive play this year, but well, the defense needs some play to make some big plays. So, what are you expecting from the defense this year? I mean, we're going to have Perfect, thank God, because he only cashed a couple of checks and then he got ejected for the rest of the season. But it's very interesting. They're trying to do defense, additions coming in the free agency. So, what do you expect?
I expect a lot more disruption. I see the same kind of tone of defense as we saw last year. Like I'm not gonna see like a big jump, but what I see is just a little bit more disruption, and finally guys are gonna be smack talking a little bit. So it's one of those things where I felt like we had all the tools last year of a good defense, but we missed that like edge that takes the defense to the next level. Like we could have been a average defense last year with different opportunity. Okay, cool. Well, we needed more turnovers is what we needed to be a good defense. If we can stop, if you want to stop passing yards and rushing yards, take the ball away so they quit running it and throwing it. That's the number one way to do it. We were a bottom 5 defense last year in creating turnovers, and we're a bottom 5 offense in offensive drives. Mm-hmm. So that is, I think, to me, the biggest key. When you look at our offense, our biggest hiccup, 2 hiccups on offense, were red zone scoring and really third quarter scoring. Coming out of half, we were terrible. So
yes,
if you can create on defense more opportunities for your offense, and that offense goes down there and scores, you're just going to keep getting fired up. Momentum's going to keep flowing, and I think great things can happen. So that's all I think the defense is missing, and that's what, just like Charles Woodson said, like more aggression. And shout out to Charles Woodson. I got his jersey hanging right here next to me. He's my favorite player of all time. That's my dude. I love some Charles Woodson. And anything he says goes. So if he says it, I stamped it, double stamped it, triple stamped it. I love it. And he bleeds silver and black just like the rest of us. So I'm right there with him. And I expect big things. If we can get a top 15 defense, this is a playoff team.
Yes, I think so.
I love it.
And right now the secondary is going to be complete. Abraham has come back. We're going to have a couple of good corners, a rookie and a second year, but I think that they had the speed, and they had the thing that a corner needs, that is a good reading. So with that read of the wide receivers of the opposite team, they can stop the passing game. And Malik Collins is a great addition to the center of that defense. With PJ Hall and Maurice Horst, he's going to show them how to erupt the offensive line. I think it's going to be a 12-18 defense, but if we can get into the first 5 against the run like last year, the Raiders are going to be a good defense, a decent defense.
I agree. Abram back. You're not gonna want to throw underneath Abram. If he has a chance of taking the head off of your wide receiver, you're not going to throw in front of him. And of course, just getting better at corner. Period. Trayvon Mullen's going to make a jump. Damon Arnett's an immediate upgrade. And getting some guys that are going to be nasty in the slot and a safety. Demarius Randall, I think, is going to come in depending on the reps we get on defense. Eric Harris could be the guy. I think Demarius Randall coming in, if he fits and gets, picks up the defense well, he could be a guy that, until last year, he had 4 interceptions every single one of his years in the NFL. He was a turnover machine. Well, guess what? He had none last year. That's okay. He played for a pretty crappy team, crappy defense, whatever. Maybe he wasn't all the way in. We got him on a steal, in my opinion. We got him on a cheap contract for a guy that can have a bounce back year in a new environment. So you're right. I'm with you, Rigo, 100%. Secondary is going to be next level. Obviously, this is the best linebacker group we've had in forever. Since I've been alive, this might be the best group of linebackers that we've ever had, as well as the defensive line that's developing.
And Key is going to come back. I think he is going to be a great addition. He's just a speedy guy. And if he can change positions with Max Crosby or Clelin Ferrell, it's going to be a good match for the offensive tackles of the opposite teams.
I agree. Good change of pace.
Exactly. And special teams with Lynn Bowden is going to brigade. Bowden is a playmaker.
All over the place. Special teams, offense. Anytime that there's a chance on the field to get the ball in a playmaker's hands, Lynn Bowden's going to be one of the first numbers called upon. You got Josh Jacobs, and in my opinion, Lynn Bowden, and you still have Jalen Richard with good chemistry. So, great.
But Richard is a third down back, right?
Richard's a third down back mainly because of his blocking ability, but you got to be careful because Lynn Bowden's going to have that ability to come out of the backfield and the slot. So you can move him back there like he's a running back. You can shift him into all these different positions, kind of just like Richard. But Lynn Bowden, in my opinion, is going to have, most likely, if he's going to be the player we think he is and drafted him to be, he's going to have a lot more playmaking ability. He's lacking the chemistry, but he has a skill set. When the ball's in his hands, he can make some plays. So, we got a good backfield.
Yes.
The Bowden pick, something else. When they made it, it was like, are you sure Al Davis is not calling the shots from, I don't know, from Afterlife? Because it was, okay, I'm sure Al Davis would have picked that guy.
Yeah. No, that was, that was, and in tradition, that was Mark Davis's guy. And you know how Mark is. He takes on as his team, but, he lives this thing through his father, through Al, and he'll never, forget what he brought to the table and the legacy that he left with this football team. Al Davis is the greatest Raider of all time. He was never a player, but he's the greatest Raider of all time. So he has that same attitude and notion, owning the football team now, and at some point, I think, kind of just growing a little input with everything. Yes, he has John Gruden and Mike Mayock, but I think Mark Davis is just as involved with it as anybody, just because of this Vegas move and everything else. So that was a very much Al Davis pick. and Mark Davis loved it.
If you talk about Al Davis picks, Tanner Muse is the guy like Al Davis like it. A late defensive pick on the draft. And Tanner Muse, for me, it's going to be a starter from the middle of the season to the end. He's a great player. What do you think about Cody?
I agree, and he's I think a little bit a developmental player, and a guy that's okay because we don't like need a role for him. Like he's not a guy that's just gonna like jump in and have to be thrown in for the Wolves. He's a guy that's gonna get on special teams, and he already said it himself. He said he's gonna be a special teams war daddy. So he's gonna be doing the dirty work of what other players don't want to do, and that's okay. Special teams, in my opinion, is just as important as all the rest. If you can have a playmaker there that specializes in special teams, then I mean that's going to be very, very pivotal for what we bring to the table. Punt returns, kick returns, anything.
So you agree Raiders are a playoff team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were one small scenario last year, one game. I forget who it was that needed a win. Had that team won that last week, and had we not just decided to blow it against the Broncos, that Broncos game that we lost because of that 2-point conversion, if the playoffs were on the line, I think we would have took that team to overtime. Or if we did, when we didn't get the 2-point conversion, you could tell by how the team reacted. They knew that they weren't in the playoffs. So it was one of those things that we were so close last year. And the injuries that we suffered all across the board, you know, both of our safeties were gone. Our running back was gone. One of our wide receivers was out there playing, recovering from a punctured lung. We had a guy out there recovering with 2 cases of double plantar fasciitis in his feet, our number 1 wide receiver. We have our offensive line was in kind of a carousel all season. Had we just had a little bit less of the injury bug, we could have probably been a playoff team last year. And guess what? I mean, really, that 7th seed, we would have been dang near probably in the playoffs last year. So we got better. We got a lot better. So let's. I mean, I'll write a lot of. I mean, I'm not a betting man, but whatever I can put on this, if you got to hold everything against me, I think this is a playoff team, and I'm all in on it. And if we're not, I'll be genuinely disappointed this year.
So you see the Raiders winning a playoff game?
Rigo, I see the Raiders winning the freaking Super Bowl. I don't care what year it is.
That's the attitude. That's the mindset.
If I gotta be honest, I wake up every Sunday and I never think we're gonna lose. So whenever people ask me record predictions, I'm like, I wake up every game day thinking we're gonna get the dang W. We're gonna win. So it's like you want to ask me record predictions. Do I think we're gonna win a playoff game? Heck yeah, we're gonna win a playoff game. We're gonna win the freaking Super Bowl. That's just. I mean, I'm never gonna predict us to lose. So until they prove to me that they're not a good team, I'm gonna walk around here and trot around here like we got a chance to win it all. So
and the Super Bowl is on Tampa.
Yeah, against Tampa, we're gonna stomp them.
That's no. But that's a city that the Raiders love to win Super Bowls.
Tampa. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I never thought about that. I have a brochure, I believe. Yes, I have a brochure from a Tampa Super Bowl.
Imagine this. Yeah. Winning the Super Bowl against the Buccaneers with Tom Brady in their own stadium. That'd be awesome great for the Raider Nation.
That'd be great. I can already see the parade.
Let me add something. Okay, yeah, stomping the freaking but everything closes down with the Raiders recovering a freaking fumble from Tom Brady. That would be the cherry on top.
Yes. Strip him, take the ball over, and kneel, or kick a field goal in the game. Let's go.
That will be great. So something you want to add, Flash, because the time is fading over.
No, I mean, it's been a pleasure. I think with three chance of making a playoff run. Um I think it's gonna be interesting. I mean, and one thing I wanna point out is the all the work that Tom Cable has able to that offensive line because, as you said, Cody, the offensive line was hit with that injury bug all season long, but somehow he was able to keep that offensive line in a very
I think that we lost Flash, but he's trying to say that the offensive line, Cody, needs to be complete this year, right, Flash? Ya te recuperamos.
Okay, I was saying that, yeah, no, I was tipping my hat to Tom Cable because he did a terrific job with the offensive line, although they were hit with injury bug all season long. They were able to keep up a very high level, and they were able to protect Derek Carr all season long, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. And you get a little bit more consistency in there. Colt Miller took a big jump last year. I think he'll take another jump this year. Richie Incognito's fired up. We got the best center in football in Rodney Hudson. Gabe Jackson's out there on prove it year. And if not, I mean, we have some young guards that are going to be learning behind Incognito and Jackson. And Trent Brown's a big freaking dude. So get him out there healthy. And you're right. We could have them. Well, I mean, I think this is the highest paid offensive line. It's either the first or the second highest paid offensive line in the league. And they're going to play like it. So that's really, I think, I don't want to say the least of my worries because we're adding in guys, like Jason Witten, a big key guy that can rotate in there and help blocking on the edge, as well as Foster Moreau coming back in. He was a big key contributor, a big tight end that can do it all. And really, you didn't know what you were going to get out of Foster because he was so versatile and was such a key player to edge rushers coming off the side. Losing him and losing a tight end that can do that was crucial. And I think that was the biggest reason we brought in Witten because he can do whatever we ask him to do. So losing that edge blocking ability from a tight end was big time as well. And that obviously, is going to be a key to our offensive line production. So,
Like I said to Kenny last week, Witten is going to be a great mentor of Moreau.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone said he's going to be a mentor to Waller, but I agree with you. I think he's going to be a huge mentor to Moreau because they're similar players.
Yes, because Waller it's a tight end more like a receiver tight end, no a complete tight end. And talking about this department, I think that John Gruden is going to use probably sometimes 3 tight ends. And with Brian Edwards, and he's big enough to be like a tight end, they can play a close formation.
I agree. We can line up however we want this year. If we want to go heavy set, we'll go heavy set. We got Ingold at fullback. We got the tight ends to line up. You can spread out Darren Waller wide if you need to. And if we want to go spread offense, we have the receivers now. Zay Jones is even building chemistry. Brian Edwards, Hunter Renfrow, Henry Ruggs, Tyrell Williams. I mean,
Rico Gafford.
Rico Gafford. I mean, we got everything. We got everything we need. Now it's just we need help, and we need football to happen.
We need football to happen. We need to stay. We have to stay. The stadium, the fans, the players, everything's on the table.
I agree. I think it happens. Knowing the NFL, they're not going to pass up. You can't give up a season. So I'm interested to see, but we just need to have it sooner rather than later because I want to start planning my trips.
Exactly. Well, Cody, it was a pleasure to having you with us, and I hope it is not the last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me on. I'm always open to talking Raiders football. This is all I know to do, in the evening after a long work day. Get out here and get my mind off of life. This is why I'm a football fan. I know you guys asked me how I became a football fan, but the reason I am still a passionate football fan is because it helps you unplug from, the day-to-day things, the stresses, everything that you got to do to live life, support your family, and, do things like this. So I love coming out here, unplugging with some good Raiders football talk. And shout out to both of you guys, Flash and Rigo. Great conversations. You guys run a great show. And thank you again for having me.
Thank you. And you have an auction for youth players. Can you share with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. We started a fundraiser for Raider Youth Sports Association. They target at-risk kids grades 1st through 5th. And we've been running this thing now almost 3 weeks. We originally set, whenever me and my guy Kenny King, when we first talked, I was going to set the goal maybe $1,000 to $2,000 to raise for this nonprofit youth sports association. I talked to the founder, Devontae Woodson. He told me $5,000 would make him take over another school. So I said, guess what? We'll set the goal at $5,000. We hit that goal a few days ago, and we just topped over $10,000 in donations. Over $10,000. We doubled our goal, and we're still going. We have 9 days. I'll be in Vegas July 3rd to present them with whatever money Raider Nation has raised for them to provide, at this point, well over 200 kids that cannot afford sports to play after-school sports. So you can go to raidercody.com/greater youth if you feel, a reason or a need to donate. We're still taking donations. Every dollar counts still. So by July 3rd, that's when we're closing it. We're going to have a big show. And shout out to Greater Youth Sports Association in Las Vegas for partnering with us and doing something awesome.
So you can donate from $1 to $1 million, right?
Oh, you can donate whatever you want, man. I mean, we had a donation yesterday, $1,500. So we love it.
That's great. So, thank you, Cody. And Flash, no te vayas. Vamos a seguir platicando un poquito acerca de algunos temas en español. Thank you, Cody, and it was a pleasure to having you with us. See you next time.
Yeah, thank you. See ya.
A pleasure, man. Thank you.
The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won.
Raider Nation, let's go.